In a previous video, I demonstrated a pistol squat. It was just something talking about single leg strength and balance. But then I got a lot of questions on the pistol squat, and what people wanted to know were, what are some ideas on how I could progress and be able to eventually do a pistol squat? People wanted to know the percentage of the population that could probably do a pistol squat. And then, of course, who is this safe for? Who should or should not do? What are some contraindications, or who shouldn't do a pistol squat? And then, of course, how valuable is it to be able to do a pistol squat in the first place? And I want to answer all of those questions. But first, let's talk about what a pistol squat is. And a pistol squat is just doing a squat on one leg with the other leg shooting out in front of you. Ideally, you're going to go all the way down, and you're going to go all the way back up. And the pistol squat, as with any single leg exercise, but especially the pistol squat, the ability to do it is a huge indicator. Like, you have to have a tremendous balance of being able to have good leg and hip strength, good mobility. You really need to be able to move very well through the hips. It's agility, it's balance, it's coordination in the core, it's core stability, and good posture, being able to be very upright as we do it. So I would say, yes, it is valuable to be able to do a pistol squat. Some people would argue it's a little bit of being just showing off, because a lot of people can't do it, and I can't really argue with that. I think there is some like, it's just kind of showing off. You don't necessarily have to be able to do it, but what I want to do in this video is for people who can't do it, but they just want the value of being able to combine mobility, strength training, and agility, balance, coordination, all in one exercise. I want to give you examples, and if you practice these things and you have a desire to be able to do a pistol squat, it is going to progress you to being able to eventually someday doing a pistol squat. So the first thing we should talk about is mobility, because as you can see, when you go all the way down with the pistol squat, you've got to be pretty mobile in your hips and your knees. If you don't have that mobility, the pistol squat is just out of the question for you. So first, let's talk about a couple of mobility ideas, and then we'll get into some exercises. But the first one is just being able to squat, somewhat deep. You're going to have to find the right position, foot position for you, because we all have different shapes and sizes and orientations of our ball and socket joint in the hip. So this might be a little bit different for everybody, but you could kind of play with being a little bit deeper, get those elbows in there, pull that apart. Again, if you have any pain, like I can't do this because of a hip and knee problem, consult with your physician, consult with your chiropractor, physical therapist, anything in there. If that depth is too much for you, just get, kind of connect knees and elbows and rock back and forth and through here. Play with some different depths. Put your hands down and play with some different depths in here. So you want that mobility. Another idea, I love this. Anytime we show this stretch to our clients, they love this, and they do this all the time. But it's really mobilizing that hip joint, that ball and socket joint, going back and forth. You could even take a foot, put it on that knee to get a little bit more. Again, I can't stress enough, if you have an actual injury, if you have pain, consult with somebody before you go and just start doing these stretches. But if otherwise you feel confident, you're in pretty decent shape, these are wonderful, excellent hip stretches. And then you could even take it, come up here. For a lot of people, they'll put their hands behind them so that they can transition. Some people will do it without their hands behind them. These are all great mobility drills to be able to get deep enough to do that pistol squat. All right, one of the first exercises that you can start to do, I really like the stall bars and or the TRX straps or whatever suspension trainer that you have. But when you do this here, you've got something to hold on to. Now, you would want to use as much upper body strength as you need to pull yourself up, but don't use more than that. Try to really feel it in the hip, the leg. The other value of this here is you can sit back a little bit more. So notice how, like with a pistol squat, you have to be here because you don't have it, you'll fall backwards. But with this here, I can be a little further back, which reduces the pressure on the knee. You could also do something called a shrimp squat, which is just more that back there. And this really reduces the force and the pressure on the knee. And you could practice that single leg squat here. But again, use as little as possible here. Even if sometimes I'll just use like 2 fingers, 3 fingers to say, okay, I've got that little added extra balance and support, but I'm not gonna really pull myself up with it too much. So there's some ideas with the TRX. And if you don't have access to the TRX, try the box squat with a single leg. So we're gonna be in here, and then how far can I come back, touch my butt to the box and come up. Try to be slow and controlled. You don't wanna just plop down and then come up. You wanna be very slow, controlled. You know, put your hands where they make sense for you. You master a certain depth, or not much of a depth, but you wanna go a little bit deeper. You go deeper, and then eventually you could even get to a, using a bench or something even lower than this. But I just want to kind of show you the idea of these progressions. Everybody always wants to know how many. I think being able to do 6, 7, 8 of these is kind of good. Ideally, you're going more for the challenge of this. So this isn't so much of a strength training exercise. It's just, you know, some people would say it's just showing off. And then the Bulgarian split squat, or some people call it the rear elevated split squat, excellent choice. And honestly, in my opinion, this is probably more valuable than doing a pistol squat anyway. It's safer, risk versus reward. Pistol squat, again, it is kind of just showing off. If you want to show off and do it, use these tips and tricks. But if you just want the value of, I like the idea of that all-in-one exercise for my lower extremity, my hip, my knee, using all of these muscles, getting the deep stabilizers, getting some balance and core stability. Because watch this, when you're on one leg, I'm falling over. So can I stay upright and do this? You're using core muscles to keep you upright. If you just want all of those things and showing off is not as important to you, this is the exercise right here. And you can progress this and make it more challenging by holding weights. Just pretend I've got dumbbells here. You can hold a weight in one hand up overhead, dumbbell or a kettlebell, because now it's kind of pulling me this way. So I've got to engage even more core stability, and it's harder on the hips and the legs. So that rear elevated split squat or Bulgarian split squat, excellent choice. And finally, there are not many progressions to make a pistol squat more challenging. Who would ever think to make a pistol squat more challenging? I did. Use something like a slack block. These are excellent balance training tools. You will not see anybody on the slack block team advocate. I don't think you will see them advocate doing a pistol squat on their device. So this is me just saying, hey, if there is a wild, crazy person out there that wants to progress the pistol squat, something like this would be a way to do that, because you'll notice when you stand on it, it's a lot less stable of a surface. So you really have to work the fine-tuning balance muscles in the hip and the lower leg. But you could stand on one leg and come down. Let's see if I can do this. I'm not even sure. And do the pistol squat there. So hopefully you got some ideas, some tips and tricks out of this video. If you did, please give me the thumbs up. Even better, encourage me to make more videos like this. If you subscribe to our channel, that tells me you're interested in the content that I'm putting out. And then as always, please leave a comment below, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have.